Do you know the movie Chainsaw Massacre?
I do.
What does the
Story
bad
behind it.
guy look like, or the evil guy?
I think he looks ugly, right?
I don't know if you remember, but he has a mask.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the Chainsaw Massacre, he has a mask. He's going around chasing people with the chainsaw, right?
Yeah.
And killing them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that movie was inspired by a man named Ed Gein. I don't know if you heard of him.
Ed Gein.
Ed Gein.
Okay.
Edward Gein, Ed Gein. That's his name. And the reason why is because Ed Gein was a man that was very obsessed with his mother. And it got to the point where he would basically dig up bodies from a graveyard after she had passed and skin them, and where their skin, their faces have, like, he would make a mask out of their faces and make suits out of their bodies and wear them, so he felt like if he was still in his mother's body. Does that make sense? So he wanted to basically kind of crawl into her skin and go into, like, basically the wound again and feel like he was a part of his mom. That's how obsessed he was with his mother. Yeah.
Dang, so it was just his mom that he did it to, or other people's graves?
No, so he would dig up random bodies.
He
Well,
wanted to be
bodies.
inside of other people.
No, so let me explain. So he wanted to find women that looked like
His mom.
that resembled her. I'll explain the whole thing, or why he didn't dig up his mom's, but
He didn't dig up his mom.
You're making it all confusing. Just listen, okay? You're not. Yeah, I haven't told the story completely yet, but this is just like a glimpse of what Ed Gein did and how he was so obsessed with his mother and what he went through, or what he did to kind of feel her presence again after she passed. And so he would do that. And it was like, like Chainsaw Massacre. He'd be, I don't know if you remember the mask that he wears, but it looks like literally a person's face. So that's exactly what Ed Gein did, and kind of inspired the people that made Chainsaw Massacre. So, with that being said, we're going to figure out why Ed Gein did this type of things and why he wanted to dig up bodies and feel like his mom was still there, and all the things that he did to kind of, I don't know, just be a creep and weird and a serial killer.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, let's get into it. Welcome to T
and E with the T.
I'm your host, Teresa.
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
And today we're going to talk about Ed Gein, the serial killer that wore corpses' skin. So I'm going to talk about his backstory, okay?
Okay.
So Ed Gein, he was a guy that was born in Wisconsin. Wisconsin. How do you say it?
Wisconsin?
I don't know why I can't say it.
You can't say Wisconsin?
Wisconsin? Is that how you say it?
I guess so.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Say it again.
Now I say it too much. Now it sounds weird.
Say it again.
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin.
This sounds weird now.
Wisconsin.
Okay, anyways. So his full name is Edward Theodore Gein. I like the name Theodore.
Yeah, I like it too.
Anyways, his name is Edward Theodore Gein, and he was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, on August 27th of 1906.
1906. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a while ago.
That was more than 100 years ago.
Yeah, when he was born. But what he did was not that long. Well,
kind of.
But anyways, continue. His parents, he had a mom named Augusta. And his mom was a very, very, like, super Christian. She was really strict when it came down to having to raise her kids. So she was a woman that basically told her kids, hey, women are whores. You cannot fall in love with a woman because then she's gonna like want to have sex with you, and then we're gonna have babies and all this stuff. So that's a sin, and you know, saying all this stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And kind of scaring them in a way, like not allowing them to fall in love or not allowing them to be human. You know,
That sucks that you labeled her as very, very Christian woman, because I don't think at that point that's not Christianity.
I mean, she kind of considered herself Christian. She considered herself Christian.
Yeah, but that's not Christianity.
Well, obviously
Because
not.
then now people are like, wow, Christianity sucks.
Well, no, obviously not. But she was like more of a like of the sense of she was just very strict and
Yeah,
very
I don't like
into the
those people.
beliefs.
I've noticed a lot of people that are like that are in these stories.
Yeah, why do you think these people are kind of messed up?
I could see why people are like, man, I don't like religion. Do you see all the bad things it does? And it's true. That kind of religion does do that, because that is all religion is not
But I
Christianity.
think I don't think it has to do. Well, yeah, okay, yes, but I don't. I think it. I think people kind of mistaken it because it's not the Christianity or the thing itself. It's the people and how they use it and how they run with it, and then like
Yeah,
their
and
mindset.
also I've noticed too, it's like people don't read the Bible. They listen to a pastor and then interpret. Literally, the pastor interprets whatever he reads, and then the pastor teaches the person, and then the person interprets whatever the pastor wants or whatever the pastor says.
It's just all a cycle.
Yeah.
It's very hard. But anyways, so yeah, but I say she's super Christian because that's what she considered herself. But she was very strict when it came down to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she thought sexual acts, anything sexual, was
Very
very
nihilistic.
evil, and she made basically Ed or her kids, but mostly Ed, memorize Leviticus every single night.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's terrible.
So, when it came down to their dad or his father, he was an alcoholic. So, he was drinking nonstop, and that's all he saw his dad do. He would beat them when he would be around because at times he wasn't always around. So, he would just disappear at times and all this stuff. So, yeah, so whenever he was around, he would beat Ed and his brother.
Dang.
And then he
I
ended
bet
up.
he lived a miserable life with a lady like that.
Well, yes, but I think he was okay with it, and we'll get into it. But his dad ended up dying when Ed was about 16, 17 years old. This was around 1940.
Wow.
So
Early.
Huh?
Kind of early, right?
Early what?
16. When Ed was 16, his father passed away.
What, 16, 17,
Yeah.
around that age. He died because of a heart failure, and
wow.
he was 66 years old. His father.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So his dad died at that time, right? So that was in 1940. Now, fast forward. We're going to talk about his brother. So he also had a brother named Henry Gein. His brother had died in 1944. So 4 years after his father died. Ed's father died. So he mysteriously died, and
Mysteriously died?
yeah, so he mysteriously died.
Mysteriously?
And we'll get into
Why
that.
you say mysteriously?
Because we'll get into it. I'm not going to talk about his death yet, but I am just going to state that he did die mysteriously in 1944, and he was a bit different than Ed. So Henry was more level-headed. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he was more level-headed. He kind of didn't see his mom's point of view. Like, they just didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
They were always, or he was always going against her.
I see where you're coming from.
He was always going against her, and he was just not agreeing to what his mom was teaching him.
Yeah.
And so he ended up actually finding somebody, and was possibly, from what I researched or from what I saw, he could have possibly been already engaged or thinking of being like getting engaged to a woman, and he was about to leave, and then he dies. I'll talk about that later. But that was Henry Gein. He would also always tell Ed that he was too attached to mom, and that he needed to let go, and he needed to be himself and be his own person. And Ed didn't agree with that. Ed was like, no, that's my mom. Mom is always right, and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's Henry Gein. Now, we're gonna talk about Ed's like younger years. So we'll get into that follow up to Henry's death.
Mm-hmm.
So his father or their father would often, like I said, torture them and frequently beat them, like almost every single time he came around. And his mother had extreme control over them. Like, they could not go out. They bought a farm in the middle of nowhere so that they wouldn't go into the city, so that they wouldn't know anyone. And she pulled them out of school at the grade of 8th grade. Henry, I didn't mention, Henry is actually a few years older than Ed. So, so I believe Ed finished at 8th grade, and they were not allowed to have any interactions with any other children, with anybody else in the city. And their lives revolved around lectures of strict morals based on the Bible. So she would have them, like I said, she would have Ed kind of memorize Leviticus, and then also always read their Bible every single night, and then always read like certain lectures or certain verses from the Bible that kind of fell under her beliefs, like as in the, having sex, falling for a girl and other stuff. So she would kind of find things to make them scared in a way, to make them believe that they shouldn't be doing these type of things, right? Mm-hmm. My thing, I was questioning it. I was like, okay, you're making your kids believe in these type of stuff, but you opened your legs and you had 2 kids. So what's that? But whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so that's what confused me. I don't know how she got to the point
she
where
herself is a woman.
Yes. So that's what I was trying to wonder, or trying to like figure out, because supposedly she was against men. She was against men because of her husband. So when she got married with George is the father. He was, at first he was working like, jobs here and there, but then eventually he ended up becoming an alcoholic and he stopped working. And so she became the breadwinner, and she started, making the money, and she got the farm for the whole family. And he just was not always there. So eventually she started feeling, feeling resentment against men. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what confused me is that she was not allowing her sons to get close to women because women are evil. So I was just confused. I was confused because it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, this lady is crazy, you know. But
wonder
anyways,
what happened to her. Why she had
it's the marriage. So at first she was fine, everything was good, and then eventually her beliefs started switching because of her husband, because of the way she was being treated.
Probably a church too that she probably might have attended and misunderstood.
I'm from what I researched, it didn't seem, or at least I don't know, but it didn't seem like they went to any church. She just had a Bible and she would just read the Bible. That was it. Her beliefs started becoming the way, that she started teaching her kids after.
I guess Leviticus. If you read Leviticus, it's very hard. It's very hard to read Leviticus. Not in the sense of like physically reading it. It's just like the context within it. It'll mess you up if you don't understand that. That's not really. You have to understand why they couldn't. Why the Israelites, which is what Leviticus is what the Levites couldn't do, is the law of the Israelites. But thus for the Israelites, certain pagan traditions and Canaanite traditions and all the people in the land, they had to learn not to do those traditions once they came into the land, because that was gonna make them unholy, make them bad, like inside out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was like also looking into, is that a lot of people were saying is that it's really hard to read Leviticus when it comes to, if you don't know,
Yeah.
the rest
And Deuteronomy.
the story or
Deuteronomy is
everything.
tough. The end of Deuteronomy, if you read the end of Deuteronomy, continue, because Deuteronomy, it has one part that I was like, God, you're saying this? But yes, God is saying that, and it's true.
Yeah, so so it just, I feel like it just had to do with, or at least from what I was looking into. So yeah, so it was really weird. But anyways, so basically, Augusta, which is their mom, forced to remain pure, committing themselves to permanent bachelorhood. So they were not allowed to have any sex, and they had to die virgins. And if they did, basically she would disown them. So no woman was allowed to be or to come near them, and the only woman that needed to be around them was their mother. Okay. And so how, like, now that you know a little bit about, his mom or Ed's mom, the things that she would teach her kids, it kind of makes sense as to why he became so obsessed. And as a child, like, he was a bit younger than Henry. So maybe when Henry started realizing that his mom was doing things wrong, Ed was still very young. So he still believed in mom. He still thought that whatever she said was, true, or, what I'm trying to say? Like, he's a little bit older. Maybe he was a little bit more wiser. And maybe she changed as he got older. So it would make sense. Changed? You know how I said when she started believing the things that she was believing, or she was teaching, Ed, about the whole, like, not, don't get near girls, don't have sex and all this stuff. Because I feel like she was going through that situation with her husband. Oh. And so I think that Henry possibly, maybe, when he was growing up, didn't have to experience those things, and Ed did his whole entire life. Does that make sense? So I think that falls into why Ed turned out the way he did.
Okay, so Ed got the whole thing. Yes. Henry got to see a portion of it.
That's what I'm assuming, because
depending, how far apart were they? Do you know?
I think they were 3 or 4 years apart.
That's enough.
So, yes, so definitely it's enough time to be able to. Or no, it was 5 years apart.
Oh yeah.
Henry definitely was born in 1901, and Ed was born in 1906.
Yeah, definitely. Alexa, turn off all lights.
Why did you laugh? It's because I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if it made a difference. Yeah. So definitely I feel like it made a difference, and then also I think that had to do something with it, but I don't know. And then also, supposedly from what I was reading, this is alleged, I don't know if it's true, but when Ed, when she was pregnant with Ed, she wanted to have a girl, and that's when she was starting to feel that feeling of, like, not liking men. And yeah, feeling like she was hating men.
That would have been
because her husband.
That would have been terrible if she had a girl. And then she had her husband.
Yeah, that would have been worse.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's what she taught him, and Ed was mostly affected by these teachings and idolized his mother and had this obsessive relationship towards her. Not sexually. Yeah, okay. It was not sexually, and that's something that
just nurturing.
Yeah, so that's something that was when I was reading. Yeah, when I was reading the articles, it was specified that it was not a sexual, like,
desire.
Yeah, desire or obsession. It was just a nurturing feeling of wanting to be with his mother, wanting to feel his mother, and all that stuff, not in a sexual way. It's really weird, the way the things that he would do to kind of have her around. Does that make sense?
What would he do?
We'll get into that. Okay, so this is the beginning of his odd behavior. So these are the things that he would do, right? So he would, this is before she even passed. So this was while she was here, she was, present. And it was just her and him at that time. And he would go into her room, grab her undergarments, and put them on and kind of start masturbating in them. Yeah. It was really weird. It's not that he had an obsession with her or loved her or sexually, wanted to do things with her, but he just felt this sort of arousement when he had her undergarments on. It's not just anybody's. It's like the thought of having hers. Yeah. Well, it got to the point where he would want to wear any type of undergarment, but it would remind him of his mom.
Yeah, it had a basis with that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know the correlation with that if he doesn't think because that doesn't
I know. I questioned it too because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. You're wanting to wear her undergarments, and then you're getting aroused while wearing her undergarments, but not thinking.
Is it pleasure? Because there's a whole thing about pleasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So supposedly, some people love to pleasure other people. Mm-hmm. That's what they love to do. Maybe he was pretending to be his mom and then pleasuring himself, so then he could see that his mom is pleasuring herself. So it's not sexual, but it's like
he's wanting to make her happy.
He's wanting to feel as if she's happy.
Okay.
She's in arousing herself. Yeah. But he's arousing. He's pretending to be her.
Yeah.
And then he's thinking about her arousing herself through him.
Yeah.
Through him acting it. Or it's confusing.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Because I'm like, how does that make sense? Because it's like, how can you get aroused by something like that? You can't. Unless that way.
And there's other things that he would do while he would
have Let's break them down. Oh my goodness.
He would cause pain on himself. So so
I know what that is too.
I'm not 100% sure, but there is this documentary series that came out about Ed Gein. And there is a scene in the documentary, or not, it wasn't documentary, it was a show, I'm sorry. It was a show about Ed Gein, and in this show, there's a scene where it shows him wanting to put on her undergarments, his mom's undergarments, and he puts them on, he gets on a chair, and he ties a rope under in his neck, and he tries to hang himself, but he doesn't actually hang himself. Does that make sense?
Okay, that's different.
He's causing pain on himself. Now, I don't know exactly if that's 100% real, if he actually tried to hang himself, but
that might be from what I Hollywood.
But from what I know, he did try to
inflict
harm on himself while he was pleasuring himself, while he had this undergarment or his mom's undergarment on.
You know what that is? Once a person, this is why masturbation is really, really bad. Once a person masturbates so much, the masturbation isn't arousing for him anymore.
But I don't think because he wasn't able to masturbate. This was once in a while.
Oh, okay.
This was once in a while because he was so afraid of his mom catching him, or so afraid of his mom in general, and so he wouldn't do it.
Or what if he was punishing himself for doing the things that he was doing?
But it made him more aroused. It made him more.
Because his mom is satisfied.
I get it. No, I get it, and I know what it is. It's because, and makes sense later on, but it's because he would it would remind him of his mom. So
because his mom would him.
Yes, his mom would inflict not pain. He would inflict pain emotionally, and he would feel like he's getting in trouble and all this stuff. So if he ever met anybody like that, or met anybody that had the type of personality that his mom had, he would want to be in them. Does that make sense? It will make sense later, but I feel like the pain part kind of made him feel like if he was his mom and he felt like his mom was there because of the pain, it's hard to explain, but I think that it just had to do all with his mom and the feeling of that, what he felt whenever he would get in trouble by his mom. You know?
Or maybe his mom got beat by his dad, and his mom, he would want to feel what his mom felt.
I don't know, but it's all confusing. But yeah, so that's exactly, I mean, that's what happened, or that's what he would do with the undergarments. And this was an ongoing thing. He
That's
always
pretty
liked
crazy.
wearing, he always liked wearing undergarments.
To get to
And
that
he
point,
always
that's
felt
crazy.
like, yeah, he always wanted to dress up as a woman, but he was not
And his mom
homosexual.
did want a woman, a girl.
No, but it's not that. It's because he wanted to be his mom. He wanted to feel his mom. He wanted to be in his mom, but not sexually. Does that make sense? So that's what it was. So those are the strange things that he would do, and he was just very awkward person. He was antisocial. He wouldn't, he didn't have any friends, which is how his mom raised him. And when his mom at times would catch him doing these type of acts, masturbating while having her undergarments, she would just yell at him and start screaming verses from the Bible and all this stuff. And so she would say, you're going to hell if you're doing this, or all this stuff. So yeah, it was just all psychological punishment.
You know what's crazy? She read Leviticus and all that stuff. But you know what you're supposed to do with somebody that's like that? You're supposed to take them outside of the city and stone them to death. Stone them to death.
Oh, like what it's in the Bible? Well, not actually. You're not supposed to do that. But if you're in that strict, then maybe.
Well,
but
if you were in that city, you had to take them out of the city and stone them, because you had to purge that evil out of your city.
Yeah, she's in a way, I guess, stoning him, but with her words.
Nah, because if she's that strict with Leviticus, Leviticus is clear.
Well, I think it was strict enough. I think it was good enough, okay? Because it messed him up.
Yeah.
I think that was fine.
Yeah.
So Ed's brother, now we're going to go into his death, okay? So those are the little odd things that he would do, and it got worse, okay? But the reason why I want to talk about his brother's death is because allegedly he possibly could have done it. Could have killed his own brother. Okay. So this is what happened. Henry, which is his brother, was helping Ed. So they were both working in the farm. They were burning like old grass, old branches, just like dried up stuff, basically. And so supposedly Henry's idea was to just make this big fire and throw everything there, okay? It ended up getting out of hand, and it ended up with them splitting up. So Edwin went one way, Henry went another way, and they didn't find each other for a while. And then hours passed, and it got dark, and Ed still couldn't find Henry. So he ended up calling the police, Ed. And
Ed?
Yeah, Ed called the police.
Wait, I thought you said Henry.
He couldn't find Henry.
Oh,
He still couldn't find
Ed
Henry.
couldn't find Henry.
So Ed ended up calling the police. And when he called the police, they got there, and he literally had them walk straight to where Henry's body was. So he led them straight to where his body was. So it's like, how did you, because he was saying that, oh, he's missing, I haven't seen him in a while, but then you lead him to his body. So it was just really weird, right? It was just very odd. And then when they find him, they're like, at first they're like, because Ed had explained it through the phone, there was this fire, it got out of hand, and now I can't find my Henry. Yeah. So they're thinking, okay, so he probably like, either it was this, what's the word when you're inhaling too much of the smoke? Yeah. What is it called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Asphyxiation. Asphyxiation. I can't say the word. Asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation. Baba, how do you say?
Asphyxiation.
Huh?
Asphyxiation.
No.
Asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation. I can't say the word. But anyway, so yeah, so he basically inhaled too much smoke. And that's what they were thinking, that he just passed out or something. And that's what happened. So when they found him, it was very odd because he had a bruise on his head. So he had like this, like a lump, or like a bruise on his head. And they didn't think anything of it. They were like, oh, okay. He died of asphyxiation. Or
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What does that say? Say the word.
Asphyxiation.
And that was it. They did no autopsy, and that's what they ruled it as. So that was the end of that.
That was back in the day, people too.
But it's still crazy because they noticed that lump or that bruise on his head, and still was like, it was the fire. Let's call it a day. And
that's
then
crazy.
went about their day.
It was a small town, probably too. They probably knew him and stuff like that.
Not sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure they knew Ed because, I mean,
small town and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably.
There's like a very stranded farm,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, they all knew about him because of the fact that he just seemed like an odd person, and then also because he didn't seem like he would hurt a fly. That's literally how people described him. Ed would never hurt a fly. He was very kind. He was very nice.
Was
he? He was. He was creepingly nice.
Eddie Gein was generally seen as kind of an oddball. People saw him as somewhat simple-minded, completely harmless.
How long did you say you'd known Mr. Gein? Well, I've known him ever since he was a little boy. He's lived through all his life in this.
Yeah.
I think he killed his brother then.
I don't know.
I
think he killed his brother. So the reason why I think that he killed his brother, and a lot of people think that he killed his brother, is because of the fact that he led them straight to his brother when they got there. So he literally told them on the phone, I can't find my brother. I haven't found my brother in hours. It's dark, and I think that this fire, it went out of hand and all this stuff. So it got out of hand and all this stuff. So it's like, as soon as they get there, you lead them straight to him.
I don't know if was
How?
it on purpose.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it might have not been on purpose. That's what I'm saying. It's like
on purpose why he killed him?
No, not on purpose that he led them directly to him. It's just coincidentally, he led them to his brother.
But it's like for hours you couldn't find your brother, and then all of a sudden
but
now
I guess
you found him in like
path
2 minutes.
In the new path that he took, directing them is the path that was it.
Nah, I think it's weird. I don't believe it. Yeah, it was weird. And then
he isn't
also
street smart too, though. He isn't street smart enough to think of something like that. So,
well, okay. So let me explain to you. So in the Netflix show, they kind of showed, or this kind of proves as to why people, or not proves, it kind of shows that people think that he was the one that killed him, because of like this show shows that before this all happened, before he was found dead, his brother, he was talking to him in the barn, and he was starting to explain to Ed, Henry was starting to explain to Ed that he was going to leave, and that he was not going to, listen to mom anymore, and that he needs to, be his own person and all this stuff, and stop being so attached to mom and all that, right? And Ed was not liking it. Ed was like, no, that's mom. Like, you got to listen to mom. Like, you got to listen to mom.
Yeah.
So I guess he felt like he needed to kind of hold him back or something, And when Henry turns around, Ed grabs a rock and hits him with it. And he falls to the ground. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just playing with you. Henry, get up. And there's a gush of blood on the floor. He said, Henry, get up. Henry, get up. But it was just like, I mean, obviously it's a show, but it just seems like he could have been, like that could have been what happened. So it was just really weird. But who knows? He could have done it. He could have not done it. But I kind of believe that he did because he was a liar. He was like, because there's so many leads to, there's just a lot of things that he could have possibly done that he denied. And it was just, it was like right there. But he lies and he denies. And I'll get to it. But I think that he did, this is my opinion, okay, allegedly killed his brother, okay? But that's the story of his brother and his death. Now we're going to get into his mom's death. She had a lot of like anger, and she would be like yelling all the time, and she would have a lot of stress, okay? So, and that's very important because she ended up having a stroke. So her first stroke that she had was a little bit after Henry's death. Okay, Henry, Ed's brother. Yeah. And so Ed became, since, you know, the father is already, he had already passed away. Now his brother Henry had passed away. Now it's just Ed and Augusta, the mom. And so Ed became the, you know, the caregiver. Yeah. The caregiver of her. Really? Yeah. Because she ended up she ended up partially paralyzed. So she wasn't able to walk very well. Well, at all. She was in a wheelchair most of her time until the very end, because she was able to walk for a little bit until she had another stroke. So that's the one that took her out. So the reason why she had that second stroke was because she had went to a neighbor, and she saw the neighbor, which is a man, with another woman that was not his wife, and she became distressed because of that. I think it's because she was like, oh yeah, you see, you know, like, it is true, women are horrible, men are horrible, everything is horrible, like, you know, she was just all distressed. And that's what caused her stroke, allegedly.
That's what nihilism causes.
Allegedly, so that's what caused it.
Don't be negative.
Yeah, she was
positive.
Very angry person. She was always like so negative, so like, she was just angry of the world, basically. So yeah, so she had that stroke, and now she ended up passing away in December of 1945, and she was 67. And what's it called? Dang. When she was buried, the only people that was there were her siblings and Ed. When she was buried. So it was a very private funeral. Well, I don't know if it was purposely done like that, but, you know, her siblings and Ed were the other ones there. And then Ed became isolated because of this. Obviously, he was the last one left. So he was living in the house by himself in the farm, and he started feeling like he could hear her and see her. So he became schizophrenic. Yeah. So he started hearing her voice and hearing her talk, making it seem like if she was still there. So this caused him to go basically crazy, because then this obsession that he had towards his mom grew more and more because he wanted her around.
Poor kid.
So
he wasn't a kid at this point, right?
No, he was like in his 30s. No, 20s, something like that. But he was not very old. So now we're going to talk about his arrest, and the reason why is because I'm going to get into all the things that he did and why he ended up getting arrested. So we already know a little bit of what he did, but I'm going to get into it, okay?
Yeah.
So he got arrested in November 1957.
1957. That's what, 10 years? 10 years after his mom died.
So his mom died in 1945. So a little bit over 10 years.
12 years.
Yeah. So he was arrested in November of 1957. And the reason why he was arrested was because there was a woman named Bernice Warden that had disappeared. She was 58 years old. She ended up working at a hardware store. And it was, at that time, deer season, the day that she disappeared. So usually when it's deer season, a lot of people don't really show up to the hardware store. They're hunting, you know. So there was a few people that came in, but there wasn't the usual, you know. So supposedly the day before, Ed had went to the hard store and stated that he was going to come back the next day. So he was supposed to go, or supposedly he was going to go the next morning, which is the morning that she disappeared, to fill up his antifreeze, his glass of antifreeze, right? And we know this because this is what her son stated. He is a sheriff deputy.
Oh, wow.
His name is Frank, and he was the one that went into the store at around 3 p.m., 3 or 5 p.m. that day that she disappeared.
Didn't find her.
And all he saw was the cash register open and blood on the floor.
Oh.
But her body was not there. So obviously he thought, okay, this is weird. So he did remember that Ed did state that he was going to come by the next morning to get the antifreeze.
Dang.
Now, when that, happens, Ed ends up getting arrested. Now, I don't know how he getting arrested immediately.
Man,
the show doesn't.
Not good, probably.
Well, the show doesn't really show him getting arrested before. The show kind of, I don't know how it was back then. Nowadays you have to get a search warrant to be able to search somebody's home. But in the show, they were already searching his home that day that she disappeared. What's it called? Bernice. The day that Bernice disappeared, they go to his house because I assume Frank is feeling suspicious about, Ed or something. So they go to his house, start searching his house, and they find Bernice's body hanging upside down by her feet or her legs. She's fully naked. And she's also tied, her arms are also tied. So she's literally
deer.
This.
Yes. Oh my God.
And she is decapitated. And she is cut from her groin area all the way to her chest, or where her head would have been. And her guts are taken out. And they found her guts in Ed's home. And her heart boiling in water on the stove. Because when I read that, I was like, why are you scared?
That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Boiling heart, guts.
Yes.
I understand the skin, but boiled heart?
And her heart.
You should have put that in the movie.
Also, that's in the show.
Oh, no, in the movie, the Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, I don't know. I honestly, I've never seen Chainsaw Massacre. I think maybe a little bit, or I don't remember. Maybe I was a kid. Oh, anyways, but I don't know. But that's what happened. And in the show, it shows that. It shows exactly that.
But it doesn't show the actual picture, right?
No, it doesn't show the actual picture, but it shows exactly that. And Frank finds her. And she was in the barn, hung like that. And so, to that, they immediately, obviously, they arrested him because it's what the... What do you do? Why are her body here and her organs are over there and her heart is over here boiling and her head is over here hanging on your freaking dresser or something? Yeah, it was crazy. So they obviously arrested him, and they found a bunch of other things. So okay, so let me go back. So how she died was by a gunshot. So he allegedly shot her with a rifle, and he explains this in his testimony. He basically states that he went to the store. He went that day, and he had, asked for the antifreeze. He got it, and then he wanted to see the rifle that was, because she sold rifles there. And so he wanted to see the rifle. He had his, but he wanted to see that one, and he wanted to try it out. And then he was asking her questions about if the 22 caliber would fit in the rifle and all this stuff. And she was like, yeah. She's like, yeah.
Look.
And he had, like, he said he remembered from the day before, because the day before he was deer hunting, and he didn't realize that he had bullets in his pockets. But they asked him before, did you leave when you left your house? Did you have bullets in your pockets? And he said no. But then he gets to the store, the hardware store, and then now he automatically has bullets in his pocket. And he said it was because from the day before in his jacket, he had left him in there. And he realized at that moment. So he was like, okay, let me try it out, see if it actually fits. So he puts it in there. He's like, oh my God, it fits. And so then allegedly it got stuck or something like that. And then the gun fired, and he don't remember anything else after that. That's what he said. Yeah. So that's why I said.
You're funny. You don't remember nothing after that.
Because that's why I said, like, it doesn't make sense. He's a liar.
You're lying.
He's a liar, and he lies so nicely. It's like I can't be mad at you because you're so nice, but you're evil. It's like weird. And he's like, do a lie.
He doesn't think it's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, do a lie detector test on me. I'll pass it. He passes it twice.
Because he's schizophrenic, right?
Yeah, he just have.
Because he honestly believes. Stress. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. He just says that he don't remember anything. He don't remember after that.
His mom should have took him out of his house and stoned him, huh?
But she was supposedly her back was facing him, so she didn't see it happen. She just shot her in the back of the head.
Now you can understand why the Israelites had to do that to those people.
Well, I mean, yeah. But
now you see.
That's still very sad, but yes.
Yes, it is very sad, though.
So yeah, so that's what he said. And that's what happened. So, she was, but then how did her body get to your house? Whatever. But he did state that. He was like, I don't know how she got there. She just, I don't know. One day I woke up, she was there. It was just really weird. It was just, he just says that he doesn't remember anything. And they can't really say anything because he doesn't remember.
And he's passing the tests.
Yeah. So now, I'm going to tell you what they found in his home, because that was not the only thing that they found in his home, okay? They found a whole human bones and fragments, skulls as bowls that he would use to eat out of, shrunken skulls that he would have just hanging or lying around.
Shrunken.
He shrunk the skulls.
How you shrink skulls?
I don't know. I don't know. What are you gonna ask me? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. But I'm assuming he probably boiled them, and that's probably what shrunk them or cooked them, baked them. I don't know.
Or maybe.
What?
Baby skulls?
No. It definitely wasn't baby skulls, because no, it wasn't baby. Well, we'll get into it. But yes, so there were shrunken skulls. He had a waste basket made out of human skin. He had human skin covering several chairs, so he made chair covers with human skin. Like what you're sitting on right there?
But don't say that.
That's what he made out of human skin. Okay, let me continue. He made human skulls. He had human skulls mounted on his bedposts. Female skulls. Some were even what's it called? With the tops sawn off, so the top of its skulls. Anyways, let me continue.
Okay.
Yeah. He made a corset made out of a female's torso. A corset. Out of a female's torso. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
From shoulders to waist. He had legs made from human skin. So basically a whole suit. So he made a whole human suit. He made legs, like leggings, out of human skin, or pants. He made a mask out of a human face. He had Mary Hogan, this is another lady, and we'll talk about her, face mask in a paper bag. Face mask in a paper bag. He had her skull in a box. He had Bernice's entire head in a burlap sack.
What is that?
It's like a bag. Okay. And he had her heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's pot-belly stove. He had 9 in his stove.
Pot-belly stove?
In his stove. It's just a stove. Pork belly, I'm sorry. Pot belly. No, sorry. Whatever. But his stove. He had 9 vulvas in a shoebox.
Vulvas?
You know what vulvas are? No.
That's uvula, right?
Yeah, that's uvula. No, vulvas are the outside of a vagina. He skinned it.
Where did he have them?
In a shoebox.
Ew.
Remember. Ew.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah. And they show that also in the show. Not
They
the
show
real,
the
the one, but
vulvas?
they show the vulvas.
Vulvas?
Vulvas. That's like the scientific word, yes. Vulvas. Literally cut out. Like he literally cut them out, skinned them, and just put them in a shoebox. And kept them as souvenirs. There was 9 of them.
They were not on display at least.
Still this nasty. But anyways, he also had a belt made out of nipples. I mean, why are you laughing?
What type of shit is that?
Yeah. And he also had 4 noses that he kept. And then he had a pair of lips on a window shade, like drawstring. So the little thing where you like the window.
Those were lips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he also made lampshades made from skin, human skin. So that little lampshade, that was skin. Yeah. That's everything that he had in his home. So he admitted that around between 1947 to 1952, he had dug up bodies from graveyards, and those everything that he had was from those dead bodies. Was from the corpses.
Was that confirmed, or was that just a lie? He actually.
Some of them was like, well, the 2 girls, because there are 2 girls that did lead to Ed, and that he had possibly murdered them. It's like very confirmed. Well, it's not 100% confirmed, but because he was never, spoiler, but he was never convicted for the murders. But he it does lead to him. And he had Morgan, which is one of them, and Bernice's body parts. Bernice's whole freaking body was there. Anyways, but we'll get into it.
Bernice is the hardware store.
Yeah. And then Morgan, also some of her skin and parts were there too as well. So not all of them were the dead bodies, but he stated that was it. But for him, it wasn't bad. It was like, I just dug up bodies. They're already dead anyways. Like, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Are there records of his testimonies and stuff?
Yeah.
You heard them?
I heard a few. There's not a lot of his voice.
Excuse me.
Or of him speaking, but I heard one, and he does state something about the corpses.
Did you work all night at that then? I should think you have.
That's right.
What would you do with the sexual part?
That was in.
One was painted, they said.
Oh, that one, when they died, I just put the thing over it. Is there anything like,
How did you start?
Like I say, might be 4 years. So there's a bunch of photographers from the newspapers want to take a picture. You want to take a picture? No, it's not yet. Till we get to the statement off.
Would you enjoy it while you were doing it?
That's the worst part of it. I really didn't then. I knew better, like, restless.
When you dig these graves up, you were kind of in a haze too, is that it?
That's what I could do. Just how you look at it.
And then one time you said you were trying to realize what you were doing and you covered her up without taking anything.
That's right.
What would you do with the sexual part?
They them in a box, that was in.
And what would you do with the head?
That must have been taken from reading about in these magazines and everything. Taking the flesh off like a headhunter.
Yeah, he just sounds so nice. I don't know how to describe it. He just sounds so nice, but he says the most horrible things, and he just sounds like, oh, it's like a normal thing. And it's like you can't be mad at him because he sounds so nice. He's a very kind person. No.
You need to learn to talk nice.
You do already talk nice.
I do not.
You have a very soft voice.
People think... Remember when I'm selling things?
It's what you say, not how you say it.
I say it good, but it's what I say.
Anyways, continue. So he stated that he would dig up these bodies and he would dig up the ones that he thought resembled. Whoa. Because I was confused. So he would dig up the bodies that he thought resembled his mom. And he couldn't. So now we're going to get into him.
What about the bobulas?
I don't know what that meant. I don't know, but it was just weird. He would just keep everything. Mm-hmm. But let me continue. So the reason why he didn't end up
weird.
You know how so he was so obsessed with his mom. Why didn't he just dig up his mom's body? Well, because she was buried in a concrete vault, so he wasn't able to dig it out.
In a concrete box.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to dig her out. So he tried, but she was in a concrete vault, so he wasn't able to. So he picked the one next to her. Huh?
So he was like, damn it. Wasn't she just buried yesterday? I think she's a little fresh. That bobula's still okay.
Ew. Anyways, so it's alleged that he didn't do anything with these bodies, but I also read that he did have. This is alleged. I'm not 100% sure if this is true, but he did have sex with the 2 women that he killed.
Live bodies?
when they were
Oh,
dead.
well, yeah, freshly dead.
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know if that's true. This is what I found. One source said, but I didn't see it anywhere else.
I think that's cap.
So, and then on the show, it shows that he had sex with the corpses. So I'm not 100% sure because he even stated in his testimony that he never had sex, never in his whole entire life, and that he died a virgin, basically. So I'm not,
I believe that.
but I think he's a liar. So I'm like, no, I can't believe it because
I believe that one.
it would make sense.
There's no reason for him to lie. Oh, maybe he thought that if he told people that he wasn't a virgin, he wouldn't be following Leviticus, which is all his life.
Maybe. But
that's not even
also,
Leviticus.
But also, I think it's because of the fact that maybe he thinks that, or he knows that that's wrong, and that he doesn't want to admit that. Because I know that he knows that killing is wrong, but I think what he thought when he like dug up these bodies, it wasn't as bad. You know what I mean?
Because they already dead.
Yeah. So I think that he already.
Because they already dead.
I'm gonna keep the first one. Anyway, so yeah, so let me continue. So he admitted that he had dug up 9 bodies and that he would take their undergarments that they had on and would put them on, thinking that he was in his mom. Does that make sense? And so then he would skin them, and then he just wanted to feel like he was in his mom, but not sexually. Like he wanted to feel in her. Like if he was back into the womb.
But through other people's bodies?
That resembled her. So he would think, oh, that is her. And so he would hear her voice thinking that, oh, it is her. Like, she's here. And allegedly, I'm not 100% sure, but allegedly, he stated that she would say that her soul, or like to dig up these bodies so that her soul can be in this body. Like using the body to, yeah. So, I mean, no, I don't know if that's what he said, because there's some sources that say that, there's some sources that don't. So I'm not 100% sure if that's true. On the Netflix show, they did show that she was basically talking to him and telling him, dig up that body, I can be in it, like that could be me, and then like, you know, preserve her skin because I'm there, and you know, to bring me back to life. Because he felt like he had that ability at first.
It justifies himself.
He felt like he had the ability to bring his mom back to life. So that was his first...
He would make himself believe things. He would probably make himself believe ideas.
He was schizophrenic. He was schizophrenic, so that's
what that is?
Yes, so schizophrenic... Oh. Well, no, schizophrenic is like believing... Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry. Schizophrenia is believing or hearing things and seeing things and then believing things that are not there, and you know that's what it is. It's basically your imaginary, like imagination. Yeah, imagination. Yeah, you're imagining things that are not actually there, or that is not actually real.
How you get to that point?
Your mind is very powerful. The mind is crazy. I don't know, but that's what happened, right? And so yeah, so he would do this. He would wear the undergarments of these ladies and feel like he was there, and it was nothing sexual, but he would do that. There was other rumors that stated that he would possibly eat the organs and then give out like the human meat to people, but it's not confirmed. It's a rumor. People would say that, but there was a time when he supposedly had gave this, I don't know if it was just gave him the meat or something, but gave him some sort of meal that had meat in it, and they said it tasted funny. So they're thinking, oh my God, we ate human.
Oh no, definitely. Food. I believe that.
I mean, human flesh.
I believe that.
But definitely. I don't know if it's true. It was a rumor
because
that was going around.
He looked like he was very resourceful, making lamps and, you know.
But it was because he wanted to feel like his mom was around him.
I wonder if he would take some of like that belt out in the public.
Well, he wouldn't really go out too much. But yeah. So there is, there's no evidence of that. So now we're going to get into the murders of, how I mentioned Mary Hogan. So Mary Hogan was one of them that was possibly, led to Ed. And she was a 48 widow. She ran a Pine Grove, it was basically like a bar. That was what it's called, Pine Grove, but it was like a bar. And he had known her casually. He would go often, or not often, but he would go once in a while to this bar or whatever. And he reminded her, or she reminded him of his mom because of how, like, I guess her personality, she was very, like, basically like a boss lady. And that was his mom. That's how his mom was. So he was thinking, oh, I want to be in her, but not like sexually, like meaning like, oh, I want
That's my mom.
to wear her. Yeah.
She's my mom.
Yeah, exactly. So on December 1954, Gein had grabbed a gun and shot her. He went there to the bar and there was nobody there and it was just them. And he goes there and he shoots her and grabs her body, drags her from the back door, and nobody sees nothing.
I mean, it sounds like it might have been like a rural city.
Know. I mean, yeah, possibly, but so nobody sees anything, and he just takes her, tosses her in his truck, and
Drives her home.
a lot of regulars reported a few days later that reported her missing because she would never miss work. She was always like a very punctual woman. Like that was like
who she
her.
was.
Yeah. So they all thought that it was just like a robbery gone wrong, and they didn't find who the person was, or they didn't find her body or anything like that until they searched his home. They found her body parts there. So that's when they were like, what the heck? So you are connected to that murder, or to her death, or to her disappearance? Yeah. So yeah. So that's one murder. There's a lot of other suspected murders that seems to lead to Ed, but he was never charged or convicted for any of these murders. The other two, he wasn't convicted, and he also like denied to these other murders. And so one was basically, her name was Georgia Jean Weckler. She was an 8-year-old girl. So she had disappeared near the home, or her home, at around 3:30 p.m. on May 1st, 1947. Okay? She was given a ride home from school from a neighbor, and they dropped her off. And she was literally like right there with her house. So it was like if she was about to get to her driveway, right? They drop her off, she gets off, and the last time they see her is when she's opening her mailbox. And that was it. They saw a car pass by, and they saw a black 1937 a Ford come by. And they said it was like a dark color. They didn't really like pay attention, I guess, to the color, but they just said it was dark. And that was that. They are thinking that it could have led to her. Her body has never been found to this day. They never found out who killed her or who took her. But yeah, so they never found her. They don't know who it was.
That's crazy.
But they think that it could have been him. But nothing was found. There was no evidence.
Keep going, because I want to see what happens, because he's not convicted of any of these things.
Another person was Evelyn Grace Hartley. She was a 14-year-old. She went missing while she was babysitting on October 24th of 1953. Her father, Richard, had called the residence several times after she failed to check in because he was supposed to check in around 8:30 p.m. and she never called. And so he ended up going to the house and found the doors locked, but I don't know how he got in because he states that he found her shoes like in different rooms. Her glasses were broken upstairs, and the radio and some lights were on. A few things from the house were scattered. The furniture was moved all over the place, so it was really weird. And no body was found. And still to this day, her body has never been found. So they questioned Gein for this murder, but he ended up denying it, and he also passed a lie detector test. So there was no evidence found on his property. Some people say that they found like hair clips of hers at his home when they searched the home, but I'm not like even the show states that too, but I don't know if that's 100%
And just
real.
probably putting all that for the views.
I don't know because there's some people that do say that they did find those hair clips. There's some people that say they didn't, but there's a lot of things that does come out that's like a lot of people question like, did you do it? So he allegedly only 2 murders were led to Ed, and he admitted that he dug up those 9 bodies from the graveyard, but never admitted to the murders. So he ended up going to court. He was charged on November 21st, 1957 for 1 count of the first-degree murder, which was of Bernice, because she was literally found in his freaking home. Anyways, and he pled not guilty, and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was found mentally ill, so they could not charge him for anything because he was not mentally okay. And he was schizophrenic. He was sent to a mental institution, and that was that. And he ended up going into the mental institution. He stayed there for the rest of his life, and he died of lung cancer on July 26th of 1984 at the age of 77.
That's crazy.
Why?
He lived quite a bit. For them that time, he lived quite a bit.
He was born in 1906.
Yeah.
And died in 1984. So his gravestone was, where he was buried, his gravestone was chipped many times by souvenir seekers that would go and visit his grave. And then eventually his gravestone was stolen in 2000. But they ended up retrieving his gravestone in 2001, and they ended up placing it in a storage in the sheriff's department in Washington. Yeah. So
why would they steal his?
Huh?
Because of the movie?
Because of the movie? I think it's because a lot of people found him fascinating.
Yeah, no.
Not fascinating in a good way, but fascinating like in a weird way. Like it's like, why would you do all those things? Like,
you see, that's when we should take upon action on Leviticus.
Well, I think that we should take action on having or helping people with mental illnesses.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, you got a point.
Yeah. So there's a few facts about Ed that a lot of people, or facts and rumors that a lot of people talk about. But his home, when it was searched, supposedly his mom's room was kept the same, but everything else was ruined. It was messy, it was dirty, everything was all over the place, but his mom's room was kept clean the way she left it when she passed. So it was just, a fun fact. Another thing is that this girl named Adeline Watkins, was supposedly his girlfriend. She has stated in an interview after he was already charged for this murder, that they were together for a few years and that they were engaged. And
she sounds low-key schizophrenic herself.
they were engaged. But then later on, she takes it back and she said, "Oh, it was just like a few months. Like we were just dating here and there. We never kissed. We never did anything."
Schizophrenia.
And that was that.
People
But a lot of people
out in
think
the
that.
rural areas are weird.
But a lot of people think that it was because she was wanting attention. Because supposedly they had asked, what's his name, Ed, about her, and he didn't even recognize her name. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true, but he's
That's
also
funny.
a liar, so I don't know. And allegedly he would also, I mean, it's just all confusing. Ready? So that's another thing. That's just a fun fact, and that's also a rumor that's been going on. So yeah. But what's crazy is that there was a lot of movies that are inspired by Ed Gein. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, the Chainsaw Massacre is one of them. There's also this other movie called American Psycho, which is a very, very popular movie. Another one is The Silence of the Lambs, which is also a very popular movie. And the American Horror Story Asylum. So it's
I don't know
crazy.
any of those besides the Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's because you don't like horror movies.
We're not watching them.
You don't like horror movies, but these are classic. All the movies that I mentioned, except for the American Horror Story, that's like more recent. But the other ones, they're classic. They're classics. Like they are very popular horror movies, and they're inspired by Ed Gein. And I didn't know this. I didn't even know that the Chainsaw Massacre was inspired by someone that actually did something like this. But yeah, I mean, he inspired a lot of people to make these movies, and that's not all of them. There's a lot,
He did some pretty crazy stuff. That's crazy how these movie guys, they probably look at all the psych meds place, psych hospitals, and
to
they
create these horror movies.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's like, I mean, hearing his story, it's like, dang, that would be a good movie. Not okay, sorry. Not saying like it's like, I mean, it's like, I guess it's fascinating, not in a good way, but in a bad way. Like it's like crazy that somebody would be able to do those type of things. You know?
Yeah.
It's like you don't when people say, "Oh yeah, there's this man that would dig up bodies from graves and then skin them and then make freaking furniture out of their skin." That doesn't sound real. That sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
So it sounds fake. So obviously, like, it would make sense as to why people were inspired by those type of things. But it's like, it's crazy that actually
was
happened.
Out in society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he was the nicest man ever. People talk about him. Well, in the show, the guy that played him, he kind of makes his voice a little bit like Mickey Mouse type, so it kind of sounds weird, but he doesn't really sound like that. But I think the reason why he wanted to do his voice like that is because it shows his character in a way, because he was just a nice guy. Like everybody, like I said, there was an interview, like a real interview about this man, his neighbor, talking about Ed and saying that he wouldn't hurt a fly. Ed was such a nice guy. I've known him since a little boy, and he would not hurt a fly. So I can see why he chose his voice like that, because when he talks to you, it's like you can't be mad at him. Because it doesn't seem like he would do such a thing. It wouldn't seem like he would murder anybody. And then he goes and does lie detector tests and he passes them because he's not stressed. He's just like, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And he did. He literally had a whole body hanging upside down in his barn. He did it. How the hell did that body get there? I don't remember. I blacked out. It don't make sense. He is a liar, and he's a really good liar, and it's so hard to even be mad at him because of how nice he is. But that's even creepier and scarier. Like, it's like he can get away with so many things because he's just so nice, and his voice is so soft, and he's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Yeah.
You know who that reminds me of?
Who?
Somebody else with a nice soft voice.
Who, you? Michael Jackson? No. 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 No, it's not
I never
good.
put two and two together.
No,
Let's talk about you.
me.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have a nice voice. I feel like I'm very aggressive when I talk. That's why people think sometimes I'm mean.
Oh, heck no.
People think sometimes I'm mean because of how aggressive I talk.
No. The way you word things, yes, but not the way you talk.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, that's Ed Gein, and that's his story, and that's what he did.
Crazy story.
You know what's crazy? I think, I don't know if this is true, but I think that they might have auctioned out his all his items that he made, and they're probably out there still.
What?
Because I don't think they took them. In the show, at least, it shows that Frank just sold his stuff. The stuff, the skin. The skin cover. Frank at the son of Bernice.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure his stuff is still out there. Hey, that would be worth a lot nowadays. Not gonna lie. That's probably on eBay right now. I should have looked it up. Just to see, you know, I'm curious, not to want to buy it. Why are you looking at me like that? Like if I'm weird.
You are.
I'm not. It's just creepy, like to know that that's still out there probably.
That's pretty crazy.
But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Let us know what was the weirdest part of this video for you. Was it the nipple belt? Was it the, what is it called? The little...
Corset?
No,
the bulbous.
The bulbous. Or upside down hanging corpse with the head chopped off? Or was it him passing the lie detectors? His nice voice? A lot of things in this episode. Crazy episode. Never expected it. But let us know what you think.
And please leave a like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Bye.